Hi there, it's Donna from Taffy Crafting, and today I'm taking part in the Stamp Around UK YouTube hop. That's taken me 3 attempts to say that. And myself and a whole load of other paper crafters, we get together and we have all published a video today. And in the description bar below are the links to everybody else's YouTube tutorial, and we're all following the same theme, which is the new in colours for 2020-22. So, and this is what I'm going to do. So a little bit of a surprise as to what I've got. I'll do a little bit of a reveal in a second, but firstly I want to introduce you to the in colours. So these are available in a designer series paper assortment pack, where we've got this wood grain, we've got this script, we've got some dots, we've got some kind of texture, and yes, that's it. So we have that. We also have cardstock available in all of the colours, and I'll show you that today as well. And it's available in all of the, it's available in ink in all of those colours as well. And they are beautiful. I'm really, really impressed with this year's in colours. So we have this lovely neutral colour. This is cinnamon cider, kind of like a caramel biscuit colour. And we have Misty Moonlight. I'm loving this. It's slightly lighter than Night of Navy. We have Just Jade, a lovely vibrant green. Bumblebee, which is a beautiful yellow colour, and probably my favourite. These two are my favourites. Misty Moonlight and the Magenta Madness. I love this. Really nice hot pink. Love it. And what I'm going to do is make a card with each of these, and I've already done one, and it kind of sets the theme as to what I'm going to do with the rest of the cards. So here's the first one that I made, and I'll make some others. So not only am I going to be showcasing the all of the in colours, but also what you can do with punches, and I'm going to use this negative effect on all of them. So with this, I just took a card base. All of my card bases will be the same, and they measure 8 1/4 by 5 7/8, and I've scored down the long side at 4 1/8. So this card, and probably all of these, will be landscape. And then I took a piece of the DSP, and using from the Heart Duo Punch, I used the scalloped one, which is slightly bigger than the plain one, and took a piece of DSP. This measures 2.5 inches by, and I've forgotten, 3 5/8, but I will just check that. So 2.5 by, yeah, 3 5/8. Punched out the heart and then put that on the other side, and then using the Butterfly Gala stamp sets, that's what I'm going to be using today. All of them will have this "thank you so very much" sentiment on there, unless something goes wrong and I end up changing my mind. So there's the first one. So I'm going to do now another card base, and this time I'm going to be using Misty Moonlight. So there's my card base, and I'm just going to, that's not my card base, that's my card base. So again, 8 1/4 by 5 7/8. So that's one piece of A4, UK A4, just sliced in half. And then I'm going to score this at 4 1/8. Like that. Now the cardstock comes in an assortment pack, so you haven't got to buy a pack of each of the colours, and you can buy it in 12 by 12 or in A4. So this piece of cardstock will measure 4 inches . 4 inches by 5 3/4. I didn't score properly there. It's better. And then while I'm here with this, I'm going to take then a piece of white, So this measures, what do I want this to measure? 3 3/4. Yeah, 3 3/4. Sorry to sound vague there. I wasn't quite sure what way my card was going. 3 3/4. I actually think I've got a piece of card that's the right one here. Yeah, 3 3/4 by 5.5. I've got a blog post for this. All of the measurements are on there. I'll leave a link in the description bar, but that will be after all of the links to the other YouTube hoppers tutorials. So this one has an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. I'll stick it all together in a second. So this is going to measure 2.5 by, let's get that on there first, 2.5 by 5 5/8. 3 5/8. Oh goodness, I haven't had enough coffee yet this morning. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. So that is going to go on there like that. That will sit on there like that, so that you've got a border around that as well. Now the punch that I'm going to use for that one is the butterfly gala punch, or the butterfly duet punch. So it has the 2 butterflies on it. So I'm going to push this right down to the bottom of that punch because I want it to get as far up as possible. And then just try and make sure that that's central. You can measure it. I'm eyeballing it. And punch it out. You've got script, you can use that side if you want. I'm using this just to be consistent. So that's going to go there. And then I'm going to put this butterfly here, and I am going to have a mirror image. I was going to have them kind of fluttering off. Do we want them fluttering off? Oh, we might do actually. We've released them and now they're flying away. Should we do that? Or do we want a mirror image now that I've bent it? Oh, I don't know. We'll have a mirror image, but we'll give them a 3D effect. I can never decide. Always know, yeah, I know what I'm going to do on these YouTube tutorials. Yep, off we go. No, I'm going to change my mind. So I'm going to stick with the butterfly gala. So using the thank you so very much, I'm going to get my Misty Moonlight ink from the other side of the room. Very well prepared. And I'm just going to stamp that at the top of that card. And I think what I'm going to do is put that there as a guide. And so the next thing I'm going to do is just stick all of that down. So the butterflies, I've stuck all of that down with glue. And then the butterflies, I want to stick that down with dimensionals, just to raise them a little bit. So I've just stuck a dimensional on the back of that one, just bent the wings back very slightly. And then I think just one will do it, because you know me, I'm a little bit frugal with my dimensionals. But if you did want to have them at a bit of an angle to show that they're flying away, that's fine. You do whatever you want to do. What I put on here is merely a suggestion. And then that layer I'm just going to then stick onto my card base. that's card number 2. Oops, that's made my camera shake. So that's card number 2. So the next colour I'm going to use, I think, will be, not that one, this one. The next one we'll use is cinnamon cider. So I just need to create another card base. It's getting messy on my desk. So I have cut an A4 piece of cardstock on the long side at 5 7/8 and then scored on the long side then at 4 1/8. So there's my card base. So if I'm using cinnamon cider, I need some cinnamon cider cardstock. Which I couldn't get out of the box. So I want a layer of that that's going to measure 4 inches by 5 3/4. And then another piece of white that measures 3 3/4. Oh, not that way. That measures nearly 3 3/4. I never throw these bits away. These are great for sentiments. 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. And then from this, 2 1/2. By 3 5/8. Now the next punch that I'm going to use for this one is the cat punch. So that's going to sit on there like that. Here's the cat punch. I don't use this as often as perhaps I should, but I do have a lot of punches. So just going to slot that in there just as we did the other one. I'm going to push that all the way down. Just check it's in the middle. I should probably measure that. Out pops our cat. I've done something similar with this before. So there's your cat image. And there's your cat image. I'll get my cinnamon cider ink. And let's just put my stamp on here evenly. Otherwise I'm going to really struggle to get that straight. So hopefully, as well as showing you these in colours, I'm also showing you how great these punches are. Let's just move that down. And I haven't done much stamping with this cinnamon cider. Oh no. So you know what I've got to do now? Turn it round. I've got one more chance. Just tap a little bit harder on that. I think it's possibly as well because I didn't press down hard enough. The pressure when you're filming to get it right first time. Let's get rid of that. That's better. So much better, right? And so then the next thing I'm going to do is stick everything down. So there it is, all stuck down. Just need to now put that on my card base. I stuck the cat down with mini dimensional, as you can see. I don't know if you can see that. You can see it's just No, I don't think you can see that. And then I didn't put any on the tail, so I've just kind of lifted the tail a little bit, so it just gives it, just makes it look a little bit more 3D. So after this one, I've got the green and the yellow. Now I know what I'm going to do with the yellow. At this point in time, I've no idea whatsoever what I'm going to do with the green. My mind is working overtime, thinking, what am I going to do with the green? What shall I do with the green? No idea. Have I got a tree? No. Have I got a flower? I want to use that for the yellow. Right, I'm going to experiment with something. I'm looking at something now on my shelf, a punch, and I'm just going to experiment with it. We will see. So this is the next one. And I want a piece of cardstock, my usual card base. Let's make sure I've got the right. Yeah. So at 4 1/8, I'm going to score this. Get a piece of Just Jade DSP. So this will measure 2.5. So many scraps of this stuff all over the place now, by 3 5/8. And then I need a piece of Just Jade. And this measures, I can't remember what it measures now, 3 3/4. No, it doesn't. It measures 4 inches by 5 3/4. And then a piece of Whisper White that measures 3 3/4 by 5.5. Now this next thing I'm going to do, I don't know if this is going to work. This just might look absolutely awful. So there's my piece of DSP. But if you don't try these things out, you never know, do you? But experimenting on camera maybe not be the best thing. Right, I've got punches everywhere. So this is what I'm going to try. And I'm going to use the sprig punch. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I love this punch. This is really good for if you're doing flowers and things, you want some leaves behind it. Makes very good antlers as well. So this one's a little bit more difficult to manoeuvre. I really have set myself a tough challenge here. All I'm thinking at the moment is, what a moron, Donna, why are you doing this? So I'm just trying to get that in there central. No, that's not quite. So there's my, so probably my DSP is a bit too big for the punched image, but you know, you just don't know, do you, until you try. So what I'm going to do is just stick that down with a dimensional right at the bottom there and just let that pop up. But I need some Just Jade ink. And I'm going to stamp the same sentiment, just because I know that fits. I'm going to stay nice and safe with that. See if I can stamp this first time. Let's try it again. I think that's crooked. No, it's fine. Just have a bit more faith. And then, so like I said, that is a bit crooked. So I'm just going to get a dimensional with that. Let me show you how I'm going to do that. So grab a mini dimensional. I'm going to use tweezers for this because this is a bit on the fiddly side. Just get my little sprig there. Try and hold on to it. Put that on the bottom. I'll take that off in a second and we'll glue this down. And then all I'm going to do is just take the backing off of that and pop that on there, just so that it stays kind of lifted slightly. So I'll stick all of that down now. So I went to put all of this together and realised that I had a little bit of a measurement disaster with my Just Jade, and I'm not going to change it. Just use the measurements that are in the blog. And who's to say that you can't have it like that anyway? It's just not the same as everything else. And I tried to do it again and I still got it wrong. But you kind of get the idea of what it is that I'm trying to do. So let's see if I can do this last one correctly. And I need a piece of wistful white cardstock just for my final card. And for this one, I'm going to be using the daisy punch. Let's just cut this in half. I'm actually looking at this and thinking the daisy punch is probably too big. So I'm going to need something else. I really am now thinking on my feet. What am I going to use? Maybe I'll just... Oh, I know what I'm going to use. Right, here we go for super experimental. I must be absolutely mad, but let's do it. Right, let's see if I can cut my cardstock to the correct measurement. So this one is 4 inches. And I shall check this time before I put it on my card. 4 inches by 5 3/4. I actually think it was my white card that I cut earlier that was wrong. So that's right, 4 inches by 5 3/4. And then a piece of white cardstock that measures 3 7/8, no, 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm just going to check that before I do anything else. Yes, that is correct. Then I need a piece of this that is 2 1/2 by 3 5/8. 3 5/8. Done 5 5/8, didn't I? More haste, less speed, Donna. There we are. Sometimes at this stage I would have just completely abandoned this video and started again, but I've done too much work. And this is what real life crafting is about. It's not about getting it right absolutely first time. Okay, I've got my small blooms punch and I'm thinking I'm going to take one here and one here. That's the plan anyway. So top right corner, roughly in the middle to the right, to the left, and then we'll have one here as well, like that. And just going to glue this little bit in the corner. My glue's gummed up again. And then I'm just going to stick that on the side there. Now before I put my sentiment on, I might have to use another sentiment for this one. I'm going to just slightly bend up the flowers for this. I'm going to put one here just to match it again. I'll put one there. And we will put one here. So we are going to have to use a different sentiment because the one that I've been using before won't fit. So we do have another one on here called A Little Note. And I'm going to see if that fits. I really hope so. Yeah, we'll put that there. So let's get that on the block and get the Bumblebee ink out. And hope this stamps first time. Always try not to let my videos run past the half an hour, and we're getting quite close to it. We're at 25 minutes. And I'm just going to stamp that. There. First time, thank goodness. Let's put the top on the ink before I do anything else. And I'm going to mount these with dimensionals. And I need to do something with my desk. I'm teaching my accountancy students in, I don't know what time, in about 10 minutes. So I need to get a wriggle on and get this desk tidied up. I've been doing online tutorials for the last 4 months. So not only do I have to clear my desk a little bit just so I can see what I'm doing and get some paper out, but because I go on camera, I've also got to go and sort my hair and face out. Okay, final preparation. Oh, isn't that pretty? Sorry, don't normally get that excited about yellow. And hopefully you can see how quickly, just with a few really simple, obviously you wouldn't necessarily want to buy all of those punches at the same time, but you can get a little production line going of, you know, of cards and punches and DSP, and produce a really lovely colourful set of cards. And that is our final one. So on the whole, they've been okay, apart from my disaster with the Just Jade. We won't talk about that. So just while I'm gathering these together, just a reminder, go into that description box and have a look at all of the other links to the other YouTube tutorials, and go and have a look what everybody else is doing. I never cease to be amazed by what people can do with card, paper and ink. So that's the Bumblebee. I love that yellow. We've got the Just Jade, which is just a slight variation on what we had before, but that's using the small bloom punch. That's using the sprig punch. I've used the butterfly gala stamp set throughout. So there is cinnamon cider with the cat punch. I've got Misty Moonlight with the butterfly duet punch, and I've got Magenta Madness with one of the heart duo punches. So I hope you like those. A lovely introduction to our new in colours. I'm just going to hide that one. And can I just take this opportunity of thanking you very, very much for joining me. And I hope to see you all again soon. Bye-bye.